Resume recording. Okay. So it's Tazo, herbal tea, glazed lemon loaf. Really tastes like it should be illegal. And it's a little bit sweet, but not like sugar sweet. Has licorice root, probably that's why, and ginger and chamomile and orange peel and apples and rose petals, and it's very pleasant and is caffeine free. And this is kind of like when I feel like, you know, having something, I could have a cup of tea and it's really not, adds to my water intake and it's really not doing anything to affect my goal, okay, of trying to uh, become healthier, lose weight. So, yes, I want to share with people, okay, uh, participants. So let me see what I'm going to share. Okay. So one of the discussion I had on the side after last week's meeting was, oh my God, what kind of food can I eat? Okay. So that's a good question. What food could you eat? I think, we could eat all kind of foods, but, everybody has their own list. And I'm going to add, I actually just finished my 1 day planner PDF and I'm going to send it to everybody. And this is going to be included. So you could spend some time and write down what foods it's actually, how do you categorize your food? People entering in the waiting area, admit. So, okay, perfect. So welcome everybody that joined later. Um, you are just in time. There is nothing, there is no rushing, there is no worries. You are just in time. You didn't miss anything. Just me bragging about the tea that I like. So everybody has their favorite foods, and there are some foods that are like feeling better in our body than other, and we need to know which ones are those foods, and especially which ones that actually are going to align with our goal. And when I'm looking like how can we categorize food? So remember, when I'm here in front of the Zoom, I am not your doctor. I'm not telling you you should not eat this, you should not eat that. Okay, we'll keep that for the other time when we meet in my office. Um, so from the weight loss perspective, from the perspective of becoming healthier, without looking at particularities of your case, um, there are no bad foods. We could categorize the foods between good, better, best. Okay. What are the good foods? The good foods are the one that feels good in my body. Foods that I enjoy. It's really, I eat them for enjoyment, not following a specific, nutrient content or so on. They just feel good and I really enjoy and then really, remind me of good memories and it's really part in my mouth. Okay. Hence the ice cream, hence the, like cake that you like, your favorite type of, bread or bagel or whatever you makes you really like, it could be even, little Debbie's that you probably hear me talking that they're not very healthy for you. So if you really enjoy them and this is really like really, really bringing pleasure to you, that's a good food. All right. No judgment. You could have them. You could plan them. Um, Now, then there are also better foods. Like sometimes people are like, well, I actually really like French fries, but I really know that they're not actually going to align to my goal. And maybe I could put them in the good food category, but not in the better food. How can I make it better? Well, maybe I could, instead of eating at McDonald's, or I could actually make them at home, or I could bake them with a little bit of oil, just toss in oil. I could bake them instead of deep frying it. So there are ways to actually make your foods that you like, make them a little bit healthier, a little bit lighter, a little bit easier for your body to take them in and to allow your body to release the extra weight. So think about what kind of food you want to put in those categories. And I want you to spend a few minutes, and maybe half an hour. It's a very good time investment to write down, like what are the foods that I actually like, I will eat them, and where I could categorize them. It's becoming easier when you're planning your meals. If you're looking at your list and you're seeing, like, oh, what can from all this list, what can I put today on on my plan? And sometimes, like you can actually think about a recipe, like I like, this kind of steak or this kind of, like stew. But you could put ingredients, and then you could use those ingredients to think about like what can I make out of those ingredients. So start wherever is comfortable for you. If you already know that you like goulash and you like the vegetable soup, you could put them that way, and you know exactly where to categorize them. Uh, what are the best foods? The best food for your body is like the food that you like. So first of all, the likability and the willingness to eat them are very important. You are not gonna be able to be consistent and successful if you put in your plan foods that you hate. Okay, if you hate broccoli, don't put it in your plan, even if it's great for your body. It's really not doable for you. Okay, you're gonna do everything to avoid eating something that you hate. Okay, if you hate onion, don't put it in your menu. Okay, don't put it in the recipe high onion on the menu. Um, so the best foods I consider being the foods that are whole, that are like minimal process. You need to chop them, you need to peel them, you need to, you know, work with them before you put them in your body. Or foods that are like, fruits, vegetables, anything in that category, they're actually the best food. They're whole foods, they're whole grain, they provide you um, nutrients, they provide you the fibers, they provide you the things, the minerals that are helping your body work optimally. And bad foods, I put a special category at the bad foods. Even I said at the beginning there are no bad foods, but you have to think, like if you are allergic to something, that's a bad food for you. Okay, don't eat peanut butter if you're allergic to peanut butter. Don't eat, shellfish if you're allergic to shellfish, because you're gonna die. Okay, this is not good. That's definitely a bad food. And foods that are like causing you pain. Um, if you know that you're lactose intolerant, if you know that every time you eat milk, you get very bad stomach cramping and diarrhea. You can't eat those. I mean, like those are not good for you. Don't put them in don't force yourself to see what's happening this time. If you know that you are getting a rash every time when you eat something, or stomach pain, don't put that in your menu. No matter how great the recipe looks like, or, like grandma made this recipe, it's really not worth it. And you know it. But you need to plan for this thing. Okay. So think about foods that you actually don't like at all. They could be for other people in the best, or in the good category. If you don't like them, write them down so at least you know which ones you are going to avoid. Um, so another category of foods that are bad foods are like food that are like we don't eat them because of cultural norms. So um, let's say if you are Muslim, you don't eat pork. That's absolutely fine. Definitely, it's one of the things that you put in your list of not eating. Or if you are vegan, you don't eat meat. That's fine. You put it there. You're going to construct your meals in such a way to meet your cultural norms. Now, if you are judging yourself, okay, for eating this because you shouldn't, that's another level of, you know, um, that's another level of um, pain point that we need to solve differently. So if you are thinking that should not eat something because of cultural norm, but there is pressure around you, but you should eat or you should not eat it, then you have to spend a little more time to understand better what is true to you, what do you actually want to follow. um, I am not to tell you, you should eat this or you should not eat that. It's you and your moral compass and your internal clock that is telling you it's good for me or it's not good for me. So I want to know by chat or show of hands or whatever you prefer, how many people were able to plan at least once last week. I know already somebody planned because we talked in the office, but I'm wondering, just gonna see the chat. Where is the chat? Okay, a little bit technically challenged here. All right, where are people? Okay, I'm gonna see chat. Here we go. All right. Jen said planned. Excellent. Okay. Oh my God, Jamie planned 5 days for dinner. Excellent, excellent. Okay. So what were the biggest challenges when you thought about, like planning and what do I put in on the plan and how do I create a meal? What were your concerns? What was excellent, Richard, most meals? What are the biggest, hesitancy that, issues you dealt with? Everybody had no problems planning. Okay, so I'm going to share what I discovered. Flexibility. Okay, how much time I had. I found I'm eating the same thing, missing variety. Isn't that fascinating? So what I found for myself is like I'm over planning. There is that little bit of scarcity mindset that I have when it's about meals, and I'm thinking like, oh, I'm gonna plan, and I always plan more than I'm actually hungry for. And I'm planning sometimes 3 meals, and I discover that I'm only eating like 1 meal and one snack, or like 1 meal and two snacks, or 2 meals at the most. So I definitely need to plan less, and maybe, and of course, I don't have to buy more. So that's I'm buying too much food overall. So that's one of the problem. Okay. Um, Excellent point. I found that I didn't feel guilty if I planned it. That's awesome because it's all about decision. You decided with your best interest in mind. So deciding ahead of time is giving you so much freedom. Actually, takes that drama out of like, what do I make today for dinner? What do I eat right now? I'm so tired and hungry. I really don't want to decide right now what I'm gonna choose for dinner. And definitely I'm not gonna decide something that is healthy or making me lose weight. Um, okay. Excellent. I allowed for flexibility, and one night we were busy. We choose an easier meal on the menu. That's a very good point. Okay. So that's a very brings a different discussion that I want to have with you, and it's about not all days are equal, and weekdays may be very different than weekends, and we need to be very careful and plan differently the weekdays versus the weekends. So when you have a busy day, sometimes you get distracted. You are not thinking about anything. I mean, like you're not thinking about food and so on. It's much easier sometimes to follow a plan during weekday versus when you are at home, you are in the kitchen, you are planning, you are, cleaning the fridge, find things to do, look for recipes. It's easier to be tempted to eat more and want more. So I want you to plan differently and think about like what kind of day is going to be today. Is going to be a day when I'm fully worked and immersed, and will not allow me to cook, or um, even make a sandwich. I have to pre-plan everything. Or it's going to be a day when I'm going to be in the kitchen. I'm going to have all the time to cook and plan, and I could have like a fresh ready meal that I just made. So some people are traveling all day and they need to plan very careful, so they are not going to be tempted to stop at the drive through and do whatever is the first in the menu. um, or some people are going to be traveling, and then you have to plan differently. And even if you are very very busy, so exhausted, and in planning, and you think like, well, the best I could do today is to stop at McDonald's, and that's going to be the quickest. You could still plan that, and you could plan like, if I'm going to McDonald's today, this is what I'm going to get. Because even that part, deciding that minimal thing, where you're going and what you're going to get, is going to give you some freedom of the mind drama. And also you're going to choose probably a little bit better options than if you are just pulling through the drive through. um, okay. We skip Sunday dinner and substitute popcorn. Popcorn is corn, so it's a side dish, and if you really want that snack, you could replace part of the meal or a full meal with a snack. Nobody's going to tell you what to do. You really need to follow your body. If you plan for that snack, have it. Okay. All right. So what else? Okay. So I created this food planner, and this is what I got. stuck into the Canva and trying to find this thermometer. Took me forever, but I found it and I'm so excited about it. Okay. And this is a PDF and I'm going to send it to you. You could print it, you could use it. I think it's actually also fillable PDF. So for people that are using the electronic devices to write them in, like the iPad or Remarkable or other things, you could use that. So, um, to go back over this food planner, okay, we're gonna plan. I put intentionally meal one, meal two, meal three, because I think when we are naming them breakfast, lunch, dinner, automatically triggers us that we should have that for breakfast, we should have that for lunch, and we should have that for dinner, when we actually could eat whatever we want whenever you want. If you want to have, bagel for dinner, you could have bagel for dinner. If you want to have steak for breakfast, you could have steak for breakfast. Whatever makes you be consistent and follow what your body wants. Okay. So when I'm saying you could eat whatever whenever, doesn't mean that you could eat all the food you want, all as much as you like. You still need to follow. I'm waiting until I'm hungry and I'm stopping when I had enough. That is the key. Yes, you could have steak for breakfast, but doesn't mean that you're going to eat 20 ounces of steak until it's gone and go for extra servings. Okay. You're going to still wait until you're hungry and you're going to be done when your body tells you, I had enough. Um, so very important is to really put your goals. And I want you to write every day what your ultimate goal is. And doesn't need to be a certain number of pounds of weight loss. Could be like, I want to be healthy, I want to be flexible, I want to, be able to hike, 3 hours without huffing and puffing or things like that. And what is this week goal? So if you haven't planned, like I want this week to lose 2 pounds or, 3 pounds, then you will put it down here because that's going to help you when you're planning. When you're looking back at those good, better, best food, you're going to know exactly what kind of foods I could put here that are going to align with this goal. Okay. And then you're going to look like, how realistic is this? If you are like, it's actually not realistic. Yeah, I'm going to be gone all day and I actually plan meals that I have to cook at lunch. It's not doable. Okay, what can I change to make it doable? All right. So maybe for the first time, for the first few weeks when you're starting planning, you want to use a pencil so you could erase it and then you're like, write again. Okay. So what can I change? Well, I planned a 3 meal course today, and actually, I'm probably going to be on the run all day, and I will be able to just go in a drive-through. Okay, what can I realistically plan? Can I stop, at Qdoba and get a, burrito bowl or something like that? Can I go to that restaurant and, have that salad that I like, or, not salad, but, that dish that I really enjoy? So plan in such a way that is doable. Set yourself for success and be realistic with your plans. It's not about creating, the plan for the best day, when all the stars are gonna be aligned, when I'm gonna, yeah, be mentally relaxed and meditate 1 hour in the morning. I'm gonna be at peace, have 5 hours to cook meals, everything is gonna be pre-shopped. It's never gonna happen. So realistically, what can you do today to set yourself for success? Um, so plan your meals, and then I want you to track your water intake because it's very important. I want you to track your hours of sleep to see how many hours of sleep you actually get. I put 8 hours. Some people need 7, some people need 6, some people need 9. Okay. I want you to realistically track how much hours you slept because that's going to help you assess to understand better like what makes a good week versus not. Okay. And um, spend a little bit of time and think about what you're grateful for. Gratitude kicks away of the house the worries. Keep this in mind that every time when you are worried, you are tending to actually drop all the plans and run for your safety. You think your life is at threatened. So if you're inviting gratitude in your life, you're gonna find yourself that you're gonna be less worried and more likely to dream for future, be open for future, and plan your meals and to align with your future. And spend some time thinking like, how can I support myself today? what can I do to help myself be successful, not only in planning my meals, but also into really taking care of my body. What else do I need to do today to take care of my body and my mind and be happy, be balanced, be, at my best. And let's say you plan this and you have your meal, maybe you put it on your fridge, like Katie said last week that she's doing, and it's an amazing idea to put it in your fridge so you know exactly what you're going to follow if you're working from home. Or what I do is put it on my phone screen, so I have it there in my phone screen. I take a picture of it and then put a screensaver, and then the at the end of the day or tomorrow morning when you're making the next day plan, you're going to look at this and saying like, okay, what did I actually eat? All right. Did I follow maybe from the 3 meals and snacks, I actually ate 2 meals? And you put down what I actually ate. And then you want to do a daily assessment and then saying like, okay, today I plan my meals. Yes, I plan my meals. I follow the plan. Maybe I didn't follow the plan. Then I actually don't leave this open. Did I drink the water? Yes. Did I slept enough? Yes. Did I waited for hunger? Maybe you ate for hunger, like 1 meal, but the 1 meal you didn't. Did I stop that enough? Maybe I stopped at enough at 1 meal, but I didn't. Did I move my body? Like moving your body is very important for your well-being. Not only you don't have to exercise every day. As a doctor, I recommend 150 minutes of exercise a week. But any movement helps because we are meant to move, not to be stationary. Um, so did I move my body? Maybe dancing, maybe go for a walk, maybe exercising in the gym. Did I took care of me? Okay. So that's important to look to see to help you understand how much I actually did for myself. And then would I repeat this day? Would I repeat this menu? Is this actually doable for me to do it again? When eating out, we ask for takeout box at the time of delivery the meal. That's excellent. Yes, because you are deciding ahead of time that I will not have the full meal in front of me. Most restaurants are serving like double the amount of food that somebody needs. And then you get to decide again, do I need to finish eating or I had enough? Um, what I want you to do, save those, let's say you print those planners and you fill them out. And it's like, wow, today was a great plan. Went well. I could modify some things, but overall was a good plan and I was able to follow it. Save this, put the repeat here and save it. It's going to help you 3, 4 weeks down the road when you have a busy day. It's like, I don't even know what I'm going to plan today. Just look at the things that have this. I'm going to repeat. It's like, oh, this is a plan that I know it worked. Can I do this again? Okay. Make yourself make it easy for yourself. The easiest is you could make it for yourself, the more you're likely to follow it and the more you're going to be consistent. Okay. So, what are the expectations? Because this is a new habit. You are learning right now the habit of planning your meals and following your plan. I think the diet mentality is telling us that, oh, you should do everything perfect. If you don't do everything perfect, that you're not going to be successful. But the reality is, at the beginning, if we are doing 20%, we're lucky. Okay. So most people at the beginning are going to do maybe 20, 25%. So like out of a week, they're going to plan like 1, 2 days. And out of the meals, they're going to follow maybe 2, 3 meals. Um, it's okay. It's normal. You are learning a new skill. It's normal to be hesitant. It's normal to doubt yourself. You're not supposed to be perfect. What you're supposed to do is to keep doing and assess and reassess, because the more you do it, the more you build up the muscle of planning and following your plan. And sooner than you realize, you're going to see like, oh, I'm actually doing 50%. Oh, I'm actually doing 60%. Oh, I'm actually doing 80%. And even when you've been doing this for 3, 4 months, you are still not going to do it every day. And that's fine, as long as you don't drop the ball and then you're like next meal look at the plan, or next day you plan again. So let's say today nothing worked to my plan. I planned to have 3 meals, but I actually realized I forgot to pack and I forgot my lunchbox at home, and I have to improvise something, and I just, I didn't quite had a lot of time, so I did a DoorDash, and I was very hungry, and I ordered, more than I needed, and I was rushed, and I ate more than I needed. Is that doesn't mean that I have to completely drop everything and then just like I'm not gonna do this again. This is not working. No, I could go home and saying like, what did I learn today? I learned that maybe I could actually pack the lunchbox a day before, keep it in the fridge, or it's cold outside. I could even put my lunchbox in the car. It's not the problem. It's gonna be like in the fridge. There's no difference. Or like how can I make a plan for when things go crazy? Plan for crazy days. And then I'm saying like, okay, if there is a crazy day, I'm gonna order this through DoorDash. How can I set myself up for success? Learning from this experience, not just feeling bad and disappointed and just give up. The only time we fail is when we give up. If you don't give up, you're not going to fail. You're going to progress. You're going to learn. You're going to do it better next time. And we're always learning, even if we are like 15 years old or 50 or 80. We are always going to learn something out of our experience. So um, it's up to us to what we're going to do with an adversity. I think when you have a bad day, that's an opportunity to learn, and we need to use those as opportunity to learn all the time. um, okay, so you're gonna save some. Hopefully, you're gonna have more and more to repeat. Okay. Now, I want every time when you are planning something, I want you to spend like some extra time to think about what may derail my plans. What solution do I have? Like, well, I don't know how the day may go today. I may have to go, have an extra trip that is going to last me 1, 2 more hours extra, and that might make me be late for dinner, things like that. Um, you put that here, and then you say like, I'm solution, I could have some extra snacks, or I'm going to pack more snacks, or I'm going to pack that um, easy to take with me meal that I could eat on the go. Okay, why is this important for me? Again, think about, why do I want to set myself for success? Why I'm worth this change? That's a very deep question. A lot of people are going to have a hard time thinking and answering this question, but it's really important for you to understand that this is a gift to yourself. You are doing this not only for your body that you're trying to respect and protect and cherish, but also for your own person. Um, emotional well-being depends on you feeling worthy, and I think a lot of people are having a hard time understanding that they are worthy. They don't need to completely change. They are worth the way you are. And from this in mind, you are worth to change things to align your body to feel better. So um, let's say you eat off plan. You go home, it's like, I planned this morning and nothing that I planned I actually did. Oh my God, what do I do? So this is a very powerful sit down and brainstorm and digest what went wrong. Okay, it's kind of like if you were a business owner, it's a kind of like a debriefing, like what went wrong, what can we do better, how can we improve this plan. For some reason we can translate what we do, debriefing at home or in business with what's happening in our body, but it's a very good exercise. So um, maybe you realize, well, I planned too much, or I found myself eating mindless in front of the TV. Okay. Then you start looking into like, what triggered this mindless eating? Well, I was really very tired. Okay, let's go that way. Um, when is likely for this to happen again? You think about, well, probably Friday night when I'm very exhausted after having a long day, it's very likely to happen again. What can I do next time? So you learn from this experience. Or maybe you found yourself that you ate way more than you needed. Like, oh my God, I ate too much again. I forgot to stop. Or like, I realized that I didn't even think about thinking if I had enough. And like, how I was feeling. Maybe I was feeling overwhelmed or frustrated. And I was just like, eating fast because I was so emotional, so intense, so frustrated, or maybe I was like very upset, or I was, tired, or I was bored, like all kind of feelings. Write down those feelings. It's really going to help you understand how those connect. And that's a very powerful next question. What do I actually need? Maybe I needed to connect. Maybe I actually just needed to rest, to sleep. Maybe I just needed to talk with a friend. Maybe I felt, afraid or worried, or maybe I just needed to, like go for a walk and get out, distract myself from the stressor. Um, how can I meet this need? How else can I meet the need? How can I heal that feeling of, most of the time it's a negative feeling of overwhelmed or tired or bored or unsure or scared, because food is not the answer. There is no feeling that will lead to overeat that is actually aligned to your hunger. It's always something that is not aligned to your hunger. It's hunger is a physical thing. Now, overeating is like most of the time of, I am not sure, I need that extra dopamine to take away the pain. It's a painful emotion. And you may not be open to share that emotion with everybody, but it's important for you to recognize it and to name it. There are some studies that show that our brain is able to decrease the intensity of the stressor when we are verbalizing them, when we are naming them. So just by saying like, "Oh my God, I'm so scared that this will happen," that will help to decrease the intensity of the emotion. Or, "Oh my God, I'm so tired," that will help decrease the intensity of emotion. And it's like, okay, what else do I need? I really need to go to bed. Maybe that's probably a better idea to, go to bed than actually go to have extra servings. Um, what else meeting this need helps? Maybe, meeting the need of connection. I'm talking with a friend really helps my relationship, really helps me unload my stressor. Maybe if I actually need to talk with a therapist, that really helps me with my, worries, with my anxiety, with my depression. So you really want to look into what other needs this meeting the extra need that is not food helps me with. And the last one, it's a very important question that we forgot. Sometimes we plan those meals, and if we are looking back, it's like, oh my God, I plan like I'm my worst enemy. Like I hate myself, like I punish myself. If you put like, okay, I'm gonna eat, nothing for breakfast, I'm gonna have just black coffee at lunch and a salad with no dressing for dinner. This is not aligned with your goal of helping yourself and truly loving your body. Okay. Um, if you will talk with your best friend, which I'm assuming you are your own best friend, and I hope I'm inviting you to be your own best friend. If I will talk with my best friend with compassion, and if she did that, she did this plan, she did this overeating, mindless eating, what would I tell him? What would I tell her? Maybe I will not tell her, like, oh, shame on you. You did it again. Like, oh my God, you are so bad. You are a failure. You're never going to lose the weight. It's ridiculous what you're doing to yourself. Maybe you could say, like, well, you try, you learn something out of it, you're doing it, you could do it better tomorrow. Like, that's not a problem. Like, just wait until you're hungry and eat until you had enough, and you're just gonna be just fine. Like, you got this. You had a hard day. It's normal. It's normal to feel like this. You are learning a new skill. You know, you are learning a new way to eat. That's not a problem. You got this. The more you do it, it's gonna be easier and easier. So be gentle with yourself when you are thinking about this. Don't be critical. If you are overcritical, you are less likely to keep doing it. And the only way to fail is if you stop doing it. So I want to see if anybody has any comments, questions, concerns, and okay. So some people may feel very restrictive when they're planning, like, oh, I can't have that, or I can't have that. The reality is, like, when you're planning what you actually want, you are planning from the things you like, you are less likely to feel deprived. Every time when you're choosing something, when you're going to the restaurant and choosing from a menu, there all the other meals you are not choosing and you don't feel deprived because you are happy with your choice because it's the choice you decided to do and you want it. So I think planning your meals is inviting you to be less restrictive and feel less restrictive. If you still feel restricted, I want you to ask you why and what is missing. And maybe for tomorrow, we could plan a meal that aligns more with what you actually want and what you think it's missing. Or let's say, well, I actually only want foods that are in my good, but actually I think they're very bad for me. Let's spend some time to think like, how can I make them to be in they are good for me, I could have them category. How can I mix them with better and best food? And it's important for you to be at peace and you decide for yourself that you decide what you actually wanted. So anybody has any comments, questions? Okay. So tell me one food that you put in your plan last week that you felt like was um, a good food, and you think like, how can I make it better for me? Maybe we could brainstorm together. Okay. So anybody has any plans? Okay. Manicotti. That's the pasta with filled with cheese. Is that right, Katie? If anybody wants to come unmute themselves and we could talk, that's not the problem. I know as long as okay. So that manicotti with cheese. So what can you do different to make them healthier or better for you? You could change the cheese, okay? Where you could put half of the cheese that you usually use. I'm not sure exactly if it's ricotta cheese that you use. You could skip the butter if you use butter. Um, you could add, some other things that are like neutral flavor and ricotta and mozzarella. So that's a pretty lean type of cheese. Some people like adding riced cauliflower that has like neutral taste to their dishes, and that could actually be an extra thing mixed with ricotta and mozzarella. I don't know. I mean, like you want to think about what actually you could try and see how that goes for you. Um, but I think that overall is, it's a good plan. I'm not seeing any problem there. Maybe you want to add some, think about what would be a good vegetable to go with so you get some more fibers out of it. That will help you go to the bathroom, every and not get constipated. We add spinach. That's an excellent idea. You know, beef and broccoli, but it was great, but needed to make it healthier. Less sodium. That's a great idea. Choosing the kind of beef, you have ground beef, choosing like leaner beef, or trying the, ground turkey instead of beef, or you're doing like half beef, half lentils. You could do that. Lentil is a very good mild meat substitute, has a lot of fibers and vitamins. So you're like, how can I make it a little bit, you still keep the spices, you still keep the taste, but you could make it a little bit, you know, leaner for you, less sodium. That's a great idea. And you could use the stock, the low sodium stock, or you could make your own vegetable stock. So I found that how can I fulfill that salt craving? I feel like I need to add salt to everything I plant. Um, it's actually fascinating that our taste buds are responding to the amount of sugar, salt, and fat that we are using. So this is the triad that the food industry is using to keep people hooked on certain foods. Um, there is a very good book I read a couple years ago. It's called The End of Overeating, and it's talking about how food industry, all the scientists hired by the food industry are doing all those combinations, this perfect proportion between sugar, fat, and salt that makes you want more of that and go back to eat more and more and actually doesn't give you the satiety. And if you are trying to go and eat without added salt or without added sugar, um, so reducing very low one of the sugar, salt, and fat for a couple of weeks, and then you go back and you eat the foods that you used to eat before, you realize like it's so salty or so sweet that it's unbearable. And that is actually telling us that our taste buds are adjusting and are adapting. So sometimes, gradually reducing the salt in your food is going to help you adjust to eating less salty. It's is more a problem for people that are eating out a lot because the food industry adds way more salt just to make you want more. If you're going to have meals in a beer pub, you're going to realize that the food there is way saltier and it's made in such a way so you drink more beer versus going to a different restaurant versus cooking your meals at home. So if you're cooking at home more, you're going to tend to actually eat less salty. And there is another thing is the salt and the sour taste in our mouth, the taste buds are very close, and the center that are responsible for sensing the salt and um, tart sensation or sour sensation are very close to each other. So sometimes adding lemon juice or something, sour to your food is going to reduce the need of eating salty. I actually just had this week with my husband. It was a very funny story. So I went to Costco and I found at Costco the rolled how do you call it? Grape leaves rolled. My God, it's kind of like cabbage rolls, but with grapes leaves. Okay, it's traditional in my country. Okay, it's Greeks and traditional in Eastern Mediterranean area. And I said like, oh, I'm sure want that. We'll plan it for tomorrow. So it was something I knew my husband would like it and so on. My kid doesn't like that thing. So I bought that and I went home. And then next day when we ate, um, he was like, that is very salty. And I actually looked like ingredients and was only like 3% of salt, daily recommended intake. And I was like, no, it's not salty. Look, has only a little bit of sodium. And the reality is like there was so much um, lemon juice added that made everything feel salty. So that was a good like, oh, this is actually really working, especially for him that he thought it's very salty, but it was actually sour. Um, there is also another thing. Um, on Amazon, I found there is a salt replacement that is actually made with lemon peel and lemon zest and other spices and has no salt at all. It's called Benson's Table Tasty. And it's really tricking your taste to think it's salty. So you could add that to your meals if you're cooking at home. You could have a little bit or like it's coming in a small shaker. You could have it in your purse. So when you're going out and you feel like this needs more salt, you could put a little bit of that. That's going to be absolutely just fine. Now, what do you do when it's evening and you already had your dinner, you ate until you had enough, you are not actually hungry, um, and you feel like, I could have that salty things, let's say popcorn, but it's not in my plan, and I really want it. So the thing is, with all those urges, they are just feelings, and they are not going to make you do anything until you decided to do something. The reality is that any urge, any emotion will is not lasting forever. It's going to last for 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the most, and then it's going to wash away. It's part of our brain. Like you want something, but if you don't have it, it's going to extinct. Okay. But if you want something and then you're acting on, it's going to reinforce that I want, I have habit. So I'm Dolmas is the name of it. Thank you, Richard. So I want, if you want something salty, and if you're thinking like, what else I actually need, go through like, is this the I need the salty thing, or is that something else? I mean, maybe I'm tired, or maybe I'm just like procrastinating. I want to do something, I don't want to do something, and I'm finding reason not to do. So go through that, like what is happening actually in my body. What do I actually need? Maybe I need something else. I am thirsty. I'm truly hungry or not. So if you are not truly hungry and you still want the snacks, you ask yourself, why do I actually want this snack when I'm not hungry? What else I need? What else my body or my brain needs instead of the snack? And you know, it's if you can't find it, you know I don't want you to completely resist it. It's okay to allow yourself to have it, but you want to really really think about what triggers it. And I'm going to have like a specific lesson about how to deal with urges for those moments when you actually see something, want something, and you know that you probably is not going to align with your goal or is like not in your plan. Okay. um, but if you are allowing to happen to go through your body without acting on it, you're going to realize it's actually washing out. And this is a system that we use a lot for people that are trying to quit smoking, and they are having the urge to smoke, or they want to quit drinking and they're having the urge to drink alcohol. So it's not only foods that are triggering this, it's also alcohol and cigarettes and any other not so healthy habits. But they're all habits and they have the same system. So we could actually switch the way we are looking at them. Okay, so Richard said we made a bean soup with smoked ham hocks, delicious but probably too much fat. So what can you do next time? You find a leaner smoked meat, you could replace with a leaner smoked meat. Another thing that I know that my grandma used to make, because when she was making the bean soup with smoked ham, she will put the bean soup in the freezer, and the the fat will go up, and then she will just skim the fat up. That will actually go grow thick, will be solidified. So you could do that, like just spend a little bit of time, put in the let it cool down, just put it outside for 2 hours. All the fat is going to be up to the top, and you could just take it out, and then you could still have the flavor. You could enjoy it, and it's not going to have so much animal fat on it. um, but if you are have you like to eat animal fat, and you don't have cardiovascular disease, and you don't think it's going to be in one of those bad for me food groups, you could have it. Okay, as long as you're not having it every day, it's really not going to have long term so many bad effects on your body. Okay. And even if you have let's say you have heart problems and you have that bean soup and you eat a little bit, it's better than completely resisting it and then just going and having, bread and butter for the rest of the evening because you didn't meet that need for, I really wanted that full fat taste. So 2 bites of having animal fat is not going to hurt you, but eating until a pound of it may actually cause you some issues. So what else? Anything else? Any questions? If you have any specific like wants to talk about, like help me figure out how to do when I'm traveling, or help me figure out what to do when I'm going for a party, or when I'm by myself, I have to plan for one and it's complicated, or I don't want to plan, or it's hard for me to follow my plan. What else? If you have any specific questions or a topic that you want to talk about, feel free to add to the chat so um, we could add it to the next one of the next meetings. But I am going to, as soon as I'm done with this meeting, I'm going to add it to YouTube channel, and I'm going to email the YouTube channel link, so you could watch it whenever, rewatch it if you want to, whenever you're able to. We have a birthday party today. over lunch? How do you plan for the unknown? Well, you could decide, there are some certain party foods that, you could decide to have. And um, if you think like, I want to have protein and two sides, and I decide, do I want desserts or you don't want desserts? Or I'm sure they're going to have some desserts. I'm going to have a piece of whatever, if they have vanilla flavor or chocolate flavor, I'm going to have this or that. Okay. And I'm going to have drinks or not, how many drinks, alcoholic drinks I want to have. Or I don't want to have alcoholic drinks, but I want to have sweet drinks, how many I'm going to have. So those could also be planned. Um, yeah, you may not know if they're going to have chicken, fish, or beef. Okay. But you could say, I'm going to have one of it. All right. And what I'm going to have side, they may have, like a starchy side, and or they may have some, finger food. If they have finger food, how do I plan? What do I want to have? So um, you could allow flexibility and the same time plan a little bit ahead. Okay. And let's say you go in and saying like, I have no plan. I don't know what they're going to serve. It's a surprise. They may have Japanese food and I have know nothing about the Japanese food. You know that you're going to eat when you're hungry and you're going to stop when you had enough, and that's it. That's enough to actually have a good plan. You're going to, I'm just going to be careful about having enough food and stop when I had enough. Okay. And I maybe say I'm going to allow myself to have two bites of each. Okay. How do you deal with social situations? Food is such a communal thing. How do you guard against that pressure? So that is, I could talk about this a full hour, maybe, 2 hours. Um, so the question is, whose pressure is? Is other people pressuring you, or you are pressuring you, or you think other people are pressuring you? So if you think about last time when you had a party and you had people invited, then of course you prepare food and you want everybody to eat and feel good and enjoy. Do you really remember how much, Susie ate? And if she tried that cake or not? You don't. Why do you think when somebody's inviting you to eat food, they actually care how much you're going to eat, even if you're going to eat? So people are so self-centered. They don't actually think about you so much. It's you that put like, oh, I should eat that and I should eat that. And people are going to think and are going to judge. But it's actually you judging yourself for doing this. So spend some time thinking about this, but I will definitely bring a full episode. Stay tuned. Come back, because that's a very important subject about like, and it's true, food is so much more than just nourishment. Food is connection. Food is love. Food is how we take care of people and how we connect and how we, like, it's cultural. There are a lot of, we get gathered around certain meals more than others, and it's memories, and it's a lot of things. And it's not only fuel, it's otherwise I'm going to say like, here you go, have this powder. That's never working, is not sustainable. And you could still have control over the situation and decide ahead of time without judgment and without pressure and, stress when you go and have meals with other people. So it's a very important, and I will get back with you about this. Okay. So wonderful. I think we had we did some traction today. I'm very sure this brings a lot of questions for you. Feel free to email me with your questions. I will be more than happy to address, and even if I will not, if you don't want me to tell like who asked the question, that's fine. I could just answer the question generalized, so everybody could benefit of knowing the answer, because those are common questions. This is like, nothing is new. You're not the only one struggling with this. Everybody has exactly the same, um, worries. So if there are no more questions, I'm gonna wrap it up here, and I'm gonna actually, hold on a second. I'm gonna drop it in the um, I'm gonna drop it in the chat. I'm gonna drop the PDF that I just have open so everybody could download it and use it. And I'm gonna still email it for other people. Um, but this is something that you could download and use starting right now. So you get the bonus for being live, for being here. And maybe I will, for next time, I will have some prizes for people that are not shy and they're willing to come and live. And because I want to use my skills of coaching that I have to help you be successful. And if I think we could actually help you more if we are discussing about the struggles. Thank you. Thank you, Rich. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. And it's great. I'm happy to see you. And for people that are watching this remote, um, I will be more than happy. So, Jennifer, can I see you next time and we could talk? All right. Excellent. Perfect. Okay. I hope everybody's enjoying the rest of the day. And I want you to discover many, many things by planning. Excellent. Have a wonderful the rest of your day. Okay. Bye bye. Stop share. And I am going to stop recording and end the meeting.